Well, at least 5 police sources have confirmed with Fox 13 that the person killed is Anthony Mims, also known as Big Jook. Now, Big Jook is the brother of rapper Yo Gotti.
In Memphis, Gotti and his CMG crew have made headlines for intimidating and even carrying out hits on other hip-hop stars. And the biggest storm still hanging over their heads is the tragic death of young Dolph.
The Memphis police chief is asking everyone to stay home tonight after rapper Young Dolph is gunned down and killed at a South Memphis cookie shop.
Just like Big U has long been surrounded by whispers connecting him to Nipsey Hussle's murder, Yo Gotti's name stays floating around in connection to Dolph's murder. After all, Dolph made it clear while he was alive, Gotti was his biggest hater and called him the B-word.
He a hater, you know what I mean? Matter of fact, he my biggest hater. You know what I mean? He wanted to sign me. He wanted me to come over there and let him give me some money, give me a car and all that. Nah, I don't need that.
Yo Gotti. Now it's starting to look like Yo Gotti might be feeling the pressure closing in. Word on the street is Gotti's been making moves, literally. There's talk that he's spending more time in Dallas lately, and just recently, he signed a rising artist from the city named Zillionaire Doe. People are taking that as a strategic play, like maybe Gotti is trying to shift his base of operations or distance himself from the chaos that's been brewing back home in Memphis. To some, it looks like a man who's seen the writing on the wall. Let's be real, Gotti's been surrounded by tragedy ever since Dolph's demise. His own brother, Big Jook, was killed, and many believe that hit was directly tied to the ongoing war over Dolph's murder.
Well, at least 5 police sources have confirmed with Fox 13 that the person killed is Anthony Mims, also known as Big Jook. Now, Big Jook is the brother of rapper Yo Gotti.
With so many bodies dropping and more heat on CMG, it wouldn't be surprising if Gotti is trying to avoid becoming the next name of the headlines. But the thing is, even if he's ducking off to Dallas, that's not going to stop the feds from coming if they've really got him in their sights. What happened in Memphis isn't going away, and according to WAC 100, things could get real for Gotti sooner rather than later. WAC recently stirred the pot openly by saying that Yo Gotti might be next on the federal radar. He even went so far as to tell Gotti he should start saying his prayers, like that's how serious he thinks it's getting.
Yo Gotti, say your prayers. You better say your prayers.
You know they coming, don't you?
WAC also mentioned that the feds might try to label CMG a gang, just like they did with YSL in Atlanta. And honestly, if that happens, everything changes.
Wouldn't it be smart to blame it on the dead man, though?
No, he was part of the company. They saying CMG, they're going to classify it as a gang. They going to try to target.
First attempt. WAC pointed out that prosecutors could start digging into old beefs, including the 2017 incident in Charlotte when Dolph's SUV got sprayed with over 100 bullets. That wasn't just a random act, at least not in the eyes of the feds.
Let's do the math. CMG and PRE shooting at the back in the Carolinas. Motherfuckers doing songs, shot the Sprinter 100 times, bulletproof. Ain't gonna take that and paint the perfect movie. These two things.
3 men were arrested at the time, including Blac Youngsta, who's one of CMG's top artists. The others were Frederick Blac and Antavius Gardner. All 3 were hit with multiple counts of discharging a firearm into occupied property and conspiracy. That shooting went down in broad daylight right before the CIAA basketball championship game, just blocks from the arena. It was wild. Multiple cars got hit, bullet casings everywhere, and while the motive was never officially stated by investigators, Dolph didn't hold back. He said he was targeted, and he even dropped 3 songs about the whole thing: 100 Shots, In Charlotte, and Bulletproof. Eventually, the charges against Blac Youngsta got dropped, but the streets never forgot. Second attempt. Then there was that second attempt on Dolph's life just months later, outside the Lowe's Hotel in Hollywood. That one almost took him out. He got into a fight with 3 guys in the valet area, got knocked to the ground, and then someone pulled out a gun and shot him multiple times. He was rushed into surgery and survived, but it was clear that somebody really wanted him gone. LAPD even named Yo Gotti as a person of interest based on witness statements. A man named Corey McClendon, one of Gotti's close associates, was arrested near the scene. Police even found a gold Escalade linked to the suspects not far away. But like before, charges didn't stick. McClendon got released, and no one's ever been officially charged for that shooting either. Young Dolph's murder. And then there was the actual murder of young Dolph, arguably the most tragic chapter in this whole saga. It happened in broad daylight, right in his hometown of Memphis. Dolph had pulled up to Makita's Homemade Cookies, a spot he was known to frequent and support often. That's when it all went down. Two masked gunmen ambushed him outside the shop and shot him multiple times before speeding off in a getaway car. The whole thing was caught on surveillance footage, and just like that, Memphis lost one of its most respected voices. What followed was a manhunt that gripped the entire city. Eventually, police arrested 23-year-old Justin Johnson, better known as Straight Drop, and 32-year-old Cornelius Smith. They were both charged with Dolph's murder, but then came a third name, Hernandez Govan, 43 years old, who prosecutors believe was the one who actually orchestrated the entire hit. The trial. Now fast forward to September 2024 during the trial, and that's when things really took a turn. Cornelius Smith flipped. He got up on that stand and decided to tell it all. First, he dropped a shocking statement. He said he didn't even know who young Dolph was when they killed him, said it was all about the money. Even crazier was that day, November 17, 2021, was his daughter's birthday. Instead of being with her, he was out chasing a promise of fast cash, caught up in a plot that would end someone else's life and ultimately ruin his own. In court, Cornelius identified himself and Justin in the surveillance footage from the scene. When they asked him how many times he shot Dolph, he couldn't even answer directly. Said he wasn't even thinking straight. All he had on his mind was the payday they were promised. That's when the courtroom heard the bombshell. Cornelius testified that it was Big Jook, Yo Gotti's older brother and a powerful figure in CMG, who put the bounty on Dolph's head, $100,000. That was the number.
Big Jook had a hit on Dolph's head or whatnot, so...
How do you know that Big Jook had a hit on Dolph's head? How much money was it supposed to be?
$100,000 on Dolph's head.
And had you agreed to do this hit?
Yes, sir.
Had Justin agreed to do this hit?
Yes, sir.
And that's where Hernandez Govan came in. According to Cornelius, Hernandez was the one who pulled the strings. He was connected to CMG and acted as the middleman. He used Justin and Cornelius like pawns. Justin, who was chasing clout and wanted to blow up in the rap game, thought this would earn him stripes with CMG. And Cornelius, who was down bad and addicted to drugs, just needed the money. Hernandez knew exactly how to manipulate them both. The timing of the murder wasn't random either. Dolph was in Memphis for his annual turkey giveaway, something he did every year to give back to the community. But instead of being recognized for his generosity, Dolph became a target. The killer spotted his custom camo-wrapped Corvette as he was moving through town and followed him. They waited until he stopped at Makita's Cookies to strike. But the story didn't end with a shooting. After the murder, Justin Johnson allegedly FaceTimed Big Jook and spelled out Dolph's name in sign language to let him know it was done. Cornelius testified that Big Jook responded by saying they'd link up soon and that the payment would come through. The plan was for Hernandez to get $20,000 for arranging the hit, and for Justin and Cornelius to each walk away with $40,000. That would have totaled $100K, but reality didn't match the plan.
Me and him supposed to be giving Quid $10,000 apiece.
All right, so you and him were going to give Govan $10,000 apiece?
Yeah.
And how much were you going to get?
I was getting 40, he was getting 40.
Okay.
Cornelius says he only got $800. That's it, $800 for taking out a hometown legend and father of two. His life spiraled even further after that. Once he got arrested, he claimed that Big Jook covered his lawyer's fee, dropping $50,000 on the defense. But as for the promised payment, it never came. Later on, another CMG-connected individual allegedly dropped another $50K on a lawyer for him too. But by then, Cornelius was already too deep in the hole. Meanwhile, everyone involved started falling like dominoes. Justin's brother, Jamarcus Johnson, ended up being the fourth person charged in connection to the case. His role was helping Justin escape after the murder. He pled guilty to 3 counts of accessory after the fact and now faces 6 to 12 years behind bars. Justin was convicted of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder, and being a felon in possession of a firearm. Following the guilty verdict, he was immediately sentenced to life in prison for the murder charge.
We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder as charged in count 1 of the indictment. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of first-degree murder.
First-degree murder. I sentence you to life in prison.
Then his attorneys filed a motion asking the court to vacate the sentence and grant him a new trial. The motion argued that the evidence presented wasn't strong enough to prove first-degree murder beyond a reasonable doubt. It also claimed the court made errors by allowing gruesome crime scene and autopsy photos into evidence and by denying Johnson's requests to sit at the counsel table during trial. Still, things only got worse for him. Johnson was later handed a 35-year sentence for the conspiracy charge and another 15 years for being a felon in possession of a firearm, stacking up to 50 additional years on top of his life sentence. Though 2 of those sentences will run concurrently, the message is clear. He's not getting out. And Cornelius didn't get a pass either. The prosecutors made it clear, just because he's talking doesn't mean he's walking. He's still going to prison, maybe not for life, but he's not going home anytime soon. One of the most heartbreaking parts of this whole thing was when Cornelius recalled his daughter's birthday. The prosecutor asked him point blank, "You went and killed a man on your daughter's birthday?" Cornelius replied, "I was trying to make it rain for her. I wanted to make it a beautiful day for her." That moment said everything. Instead of being a father to his 5 kids, Cornelius ended up killing a father, a husband, a community figure for a check that never came. Big Jook. Fast forward to what many saw as the inevitable fallout from young Dolph's murder. Yo Gotti ended up feeling that retaliation in a way nobody could have predicted. And it hit him where it hurts the most: his family. There had been whispers for a while that something might come back around, that the streets hadn't forgotten, and sure enough, it did. They didn't just come for Gotti's crew or the label, they reportedly came after his mother. Word is, she was targeted in a move that shook everyone who heard about it. Thankfully, she managed to escape unharmed. But that close call was already a major wake-up call. Still, it didn't stop there. The one who paid the ultimate price was Yo Gotti's older brother, Big Jook. Big Jook was at a funeral, but in the streets there's no such thing as sacred ground. When you're in that world, not even a funeral offers protection. If it's your time, it's your time. So, here's what happened. Both Yo Gotti and Big Jook were attending a service for their family member, OG Eric Bolden. There's actual footage floating online, shared by YouTube journalist Seti Nash, showing them standing right there by the casket. On the surface, it just looked like 2 brothers mourning someone they cared about. But in the back of that church, 2 men could be seen quietly posted up, watching. No one knew it at the time, but those 2 were reportedly waiting, studying Jook. Now here's where it gets even crazier. Yo Gotti didn't go to the repass, but if he had shown up, there's a good chance the situation might have gone completely left. Instead, Big Jook went solo, rolling up to Perignon's restaurant and event center on Winchester Road. That's where they got him. He was just getting into his car when it happened. Some folks say Gotti's mother was in the vehicle with him, which, if true, makes it even more twisted. The shooters didn't care. They pulled up and lit the car up. Gunfire rang out, and the car was riddled with bullets. Gotti's mom managed to get away somehow, but Big Jook caught the brunt of it. He was rushed to the hospital, but the damage had already been done. He didn't make it. Surveillance cameras later picked up a white SUV fleeing the scene. No license plates, clean getaway.
Tonight, police are looking for a white Ford Explorer SUV in connection with the shooting. It has dark tinted windows and black wheels. A witness told police they saw suspects in the SUV speeding away.
And the message was loud and clear. Everyone knew why this happened. It wasn't random. This was a direct response, a long brewing act of vengeance that had been waiting for the right time and place. CMG. At this point, with everything that's unfolded, a RICO case against Yo Gotti and CMG doesn't just feel possible, it's starting to feel inevitable. The writing's been on the wall for a while, and the streets have been buzzing louder than ever. With everything going down, people are saying it's not if the feds come knocking, but when. And it's not just about young Dolph's murder, even though that's definitely the biggest and most high-profile piece of it all. The truth is, CMG as a whole has had its name tied to way too many criminal incidents over the years. It's a long list, and every name on it just adds fuel to the fire that maybe the feds are building a serious case behind the scenes. Let's start with Yo Gotti himself. Way back in 2010, he was involved in what turned into a wild shootout outside a Memphis club. It all started with a verbal altercation between Gotti and another Memphis rapper, OG Boo Dirty. That little exchange quickly spiraled into a full-blown melee, and before anyone could blink, bullets were flying and chaos had broken loose. About 6 people got shot in that madness. Gotti, Boo Dirty, and several others ended up getting arrested, all hit with charges like inciting a riot and aggravated riot. Now, to be fair, Gotti's charges were dropped not long after, in early 2011, but that incident was the first public glimpse of just how hot things could get around him. Then there's Moneybagg Yo, one of CMG's star players. In 2016, he was throwing a mixtape release party in Mason, Tennessee, but the whole thing got shut down in dramatic fashion. Police raided the event and arrested 28 people. They seized drugs, stacks of cash, 10 loaded firearms, and even a bulletproof vest. Moneybagg Yo himself got popped on drug and firearm charges, though he bonded out not long after. Authorities noted that a number of the people in attendance were affiliated with various gangs, Vice Lords, GDs, Bloods, and Crips. It was messy. Now let's talk about Blac Youngsta. That man has had more run-ins with the law than most rappers care to admit. His name first really hit the headlines back in 2017, tied to one of the craziest incidents in Memphis rap beef history, the infamous 100-shot ambush on young Dolph's bulletproof SUV in Charlotte. Blac Youngsta ended up turning himself in after warrants were issued. He got charged with multiple felonies, including shooting into an occupied vehicle and conspiracy. But in the end, all charges were dropped in 2019. The DA said they had no solid evidence, and Youngsta had a strong alibi placing him in a different city at the time of the shooting. But his legal issues didn't stop there. Fast forward to 2019, he was riding around Houston and got pulled over for running a red light. Nothing too crazy at first glance until the cops searched the car. That's when things escalated. They found weed and 3 loaded pistols in the car, one of which had armor-piercing ammo tucked away in a Louis Vuitton bag that Youngsta apparently claimed. He was charged for possessing prohibited ammunition and released on a $2,500 bond. The case made headlines, but no public record of a conviction ever came out. Then in 2020, Blac Youngsta got hit again. This time it was in Dallas during a routine traffic stop. Cops found a handgun in his car, and since Youngsta was already a convicted felon, they hit him with illegal firearm possession charges. Initially, he declined a plea deal or diversion program. But fast forward to August 2024 and the case was dropped. A judge dismissed the charge, and just like that, he was off the hook again. But the pattern was already established. This wasn't a one-off thing. This was a consistent theme of CMG artists either being in the mix or narrowly dodging serious consequences. And those are just the headline names. That's not even getting into the lesser-known affiliates and artists connected to CMG who've been involved in their own situations. The energy surrounding the label over the years hasn't exactly been clean. And now, with so many dots that could potentially be connected, folks are wondering if the feds are finally piecing it all together.